The South Carolina Gamecocks are 2-0 to begin this season, not just defeating their opponents, but absolutely thrashing them. These weren't your regular opponents either. They beat the number 10 ranked Notre Dame and number 14 ranked Maryland at the time. Yes, those were two of the top 15 sides in the nation that South Carolina completely outclassed to begin their campaign, winning by an average of 34 points, immediately quieting the many doubters that suggested their era of dominance may be over. Because despite losing several key pieces from their championship and Final Four teams of the last 3 seasons, including National Player of the Year Aaliyah Boston, the Gamecocks have not missed a beat and somehow look just as incredible and dominant as they did last year. SC's reinvention of their game style to remain dominant has been immediately rewarded, getting ranked officially as now the number 1 team in the nation by the AP poll. So many critics thought this team was done, but through the first couple weeks of the season, they are inarguably the best about. So, how has Dawn Staley's group continued to be so good despite losing all that talent to the pros? In today's video, I'll be breaking down South Carolina's first 2 games of the season and how they dominated their fellow ranked opponents, diving into the roster and new players who are breaking out into stars in Dawn Staley's system as well. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more women's basketball analysis like this. But with that being said, let's talk about South Carolina. South Carolina's start to this season is nothing short of astonishing. For a team who lost so much, it was an incredibly difficult fixture to open up with. So to be pummeling these ranked sides by an average margin of almost 34 points is simply insane. Before we get into the tactics behind their dominant victories though, I do want to discuss the core elements on this roster that have been fantastic for them so far, as I feel these players need some spotlight. South Carolina is deep, with multiple players averaging double-digit points per game, and that versatility offensively is allowing them to catch teams by surprise and trample them. Firstly, Malaysia Fulwiley has become a freshman phenom, and is a key reason why the Gamecocks are so much fun to watch. Her silky smooth handle, flashy passing, and elite finishing package, combined with her speed and on-court aura, have made her a star for this team already. Her confidence for a freshman is amazing, like look at some of these plays here. Here in transition, she glides up the court rapidly, attacks the paint, goes behind the back, and finishes with a jelly layup. That's just filthy. She loves getting out in transition and attacking the flailing defense. Her energy has created a big spark off the bench for SC. With her averaging 14.5 points per game and 4 assists, her confidence will surely only grow. It wouldn't even shock me if she's the SEC Freshman of the Year by the end of the season. It's clear Staley trusts her immensely, and that's been great to see. Kamilla Cardoso has been fantastic as well, filling the void of Aaliyah Boston well. With her huge frame and length, she's become a focal point of the offense because she's just a constant mismatch for the opposition. So many of South Carolina's plays stem from entries into her in the post. She actually runs the floor quite well in transition, I've thought so far, and been a significant factor on the boards, averaging 11 per game. However, I think her biggest impact so far this season has come on the defensive end, haunting both Maryland and Notre Dame in the paint, finishing with 2 blocks and 4 blocks in each outing respectively, and deferring so many other shots with her contests. Her rapid development and confident leap into a bigger role on this team has been immense for preventing a South Carolina fall-off that many expected, and I think she'll be a staple piece if the Gamecocks wish to surprise everyone again and make another Final Four appearance this season. In my eyes, those two have been the biggest keys to the early season success, particularly offensively, but there's some others I think deserve a mention too. Sophomore Raven Johnson is finally developing into the kind of player we expected when she joined the program, earning some serious minutes and starting as a guard for Dawn Staley. While her shot hasn't been too consistent yet, it's her playmaking that's become a big difference maker, as she's averaging 7.5 assists per game, which as of right now is top 10 in the nation. Chloe Kitts has also been a great frontcourt pairing with Cardoso, and her presence in the paint is creating a number of opportunities for the Gamecocks offensively. I mean, to go from a player averaging just 1.5 points per game last season and barely playing to starting for the best team in the country and averaging 10 a night is very impressive, and that deserves some appreciation. I'll break down the film a bit later, but South Carolina have regularly used Kits as a way to get the offense flowing, giving it to her in the high post where she can kick it out for a potential 3-point look, or she can attack the paint herself. Tahina Paopao has also impressed me thoroughly. She's basically a do-it-all guard, shoots the ball well, playmakes at a high level. She's currently averaging 7 assists per game, and she's also been excellent defensively too, which to be honest, I didn't expect. I'm not really sure why, but it's one thing that's pleasantly surprised me as I've watched South Carolina this season. She racked up 3 steals in their blowout win over Notre Dame, and thanks to her speed and footwork, she's able to regularly block off driving lanes as a one-on-one defender. As she said in a post-game interview, the Gamecocks are just having fun out there, and I think it's evident. The team chemistry is at a really high level, and they're so in sync with each other offensively that once they get on a run, they are really hard to slow down. So, let's dive into the film now and break down a couple of elements in Dawn Staley's offensive system this year that have been so hard to defend. Because while all those girls I mentioned have been fantastic, I think the system in place has ultimately enabled them to continue to be this amazing despite losing all that offensive firepower over the off-season. I mean, they can't be scoring 100 plus points against such quality opponents for no reason, right? So, let's get into it. In their first game in Paris last week, they pummeled Notre Dame in the paint. Getting the ball into the paint, whether that be off the dribble, on drives, or on entry feeds into the post, either way, it's been vital to maximizing South Carolina's combination of talent, and it's why their duo big system of Cardoso and Kits has worked so well. Notre Dame really struggled to find a strategy to slow down this offense and deal with the size of Kits and Cardoso, as well as contain the perimeter at the same time. It resulted in them just being completely overrun in the second quarter, with it all out of reach by three-quarter time. Against Maryland, it was much of the same, getting post entries to create opportunities. Like here, Kits receives it in the high post, draws in 2 defenders, so she quickly kicks it out to Johnson in the corner, who recognizes the driving lane and attacks it, getting rewarded with a trip to the free throw line. Maryland tried to negate the inside game with a zone defense, which isn't a terrible idea, but Dawn Staley smartly adjusted quickly and got the Gamecocks to run a lot of 4-out, 1-in sets instead of their usual 3-out, 2-in plays. These mainly focused on swinging the ball around the perimeter, looking for an opportunity to lob an inside pass to Cardoso, or get a good look at 3. Unfortunately for Maryland, South Carolina were in hot form from deep, and since their zone defense inevitably gave players on the perimeter more room, South Carolina took advantage by letting it fly. They ended up shooting 12 for 24 from 3 in this game, or 50%, and those shots were hugely demoralizing for the Terrapins as the game started to get out of hand. It was a simple tactical change, but an intelligent one from Staley, and proved the depth that this team has. Rebounding is once again a major factor in South Carolina's dominance too, as they out-rebounded Maryland by 20 on Sunday night, gathering almost 20 offensive rebounds in the process. The energy on the glass has been a staple of Staley's system for years, and it will continue to provide SC opportunities to build their lead with second chance buckets. Ultimately, things are clicking perfectly in South Carolina right now, despite losing key pieces of their squad to the pros the last couple years, like Aaliyah Boston, Destiny Henderson, and Zaya Cook. The next generation is here, and they look incredible. It's crazy to think that many saw last season as the end of an era in South Carolina, but after some terrific transfer additions in the likes of Paopao, the emerging younger classes like Raven Johnson and Phil Wiley, and the drastic improvements of their front court, Dawn Staley's Gamecocks look ready to compete for another national championship. They've got a stellar defense and rebounding as per, but the combination of their inside threats and hot shooting from the perimeter has made their offense an even bigger nightmare to come up against, despite lacking some recognizable star names like they had last season. Despite the preseason naysayers, I have to say there is no team more deserving to be ranked first in the country right now than South Carolina, and the thought of saying that a couple months ago would have been crazy. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out, of course, but South Carolina have been absurdly good to start this season, and hopefully you now